So I was scrolling on Instagram one day, and then a very random Cowboy Bebop clip showed up on my page, and it made me think, I never actually watched the full series until recently. Because before, it was just late night Toonami episodes, completely out of order and at random points of time. But being as now I'm adult without a bedtime, I can watch whatever I want, whenever I want, as long as I have access to it. We're not going to question how, but I do. So, with that being said, I watched Cowboy Bebop. And that has opened up an entirely different can of worms. Mostly because it reminds me that inspiration can truly come from anywhere. From Cowboy Bebop to this video, and I have completely overlooked how many shows, movies, other forms of media have actually made me want to do something or have inspired me in some way. So here is, I guess, the list-ish of media that truly hits hard for me. This should be interesting. So, to start, series, TV shows, anime even, is honestly a great place for me to start, mostly because we have originated from those. Cowboy Bebop specifically is actually a very complex and simplistic anime in my opinion. I know that a lot of people have been talking about it more so recently than before, at least from what I've heard, probably because of the Netflix adaptation, which I barely even got through the first episode of before I just completely quit it. But Devil May Cry is definitely promising. Yeah, but with that being said, Cowboy Bebop, that one is considered a genuine classic, and I must agree, along with other animes and anime films and just series of anime and shows in general. It's kind of crazy how much it truly does make me want to visit space. I mean, between that and watching the Buzz Lightyear shows on Disney at 10:03 a.m.? I forgot the time. But the original Buzz Lightyear cartoon. Those were definitely two that made me actually want to go to space. I'm going to leave out most of the anime because I actually don't have much of an anime library, I guess I could say, unless it's, shonen based. But the point is, series, TV shows, and anime, it's honestly broad. Anime in general is definitely something that invokes thought and emotion, but specifically TV series, because that's usually what I watch, at least whenever I was a kid. To start, I feel like it is nothing but genuine to mention Adventure Time. Adventure Time for me was honestly a very complex show, especially whenever it starts from a very fun and just chaotic start. It actually got extremely deep and made me question a lot of my initial thoughts of the series. I mean, between the relationships to the characters, the world building, the history of the world in general, it actually does make me wonder where are we headed and how people in our lives and ourselves and other people's lives really affect each other. But moving on, we also do have another Cartoon Network. Most of these are Cartoon Network shows. We also have another Cartoon Network classic, which is Steven Universe. Now, Steven Universe is definitely an interesting show, mostly because, I feel like it's very easy to say that none of Steven Universe would have been able to happen if Rose had, just actually talked to someone, a therapist maybe. Just an idea, but hey, I guess war is an option for her. Steven Universe obviously would have not been what it was without Rose Quartz doing what she actually did. I'm trying to leave out spoilers because I do think that is an incredible watch, but it's also a show that really does make me want to deepen all of my relationships with people, and makes me question relationships I have with just kind of common things. My relationship with this art as an art form, my relationship with the technology I use, the relationship even with just myself. I mean, Steven Universe is literally nothing but relationships, and it is beautiful. Now, trying to leave out spoilers for all of these, I'm going to move on to the last one I'm going to talk about from Cartoon Network, which is, of course, Ben 10. Now, Ben 10 is definitely a older series. It is also a much different series in terms of it's, to me, a kid with an adult's job, literally, because Ben is 10 and he's basically just a plumber, and it's a whole thing. But he also says one line in particular, which is he knows when to be a kid and when to step up as a hero, which I feel is a very, very, very interesting thing to talk about whenever it comes to responsibility. The responsibilities that we have to ourselves and each other, and think about our actions and their possible consequences. I mean, that show is literally nothing but the plumbers and Azimuth trying to figure out what Vilgax is doing, and even then it continues to just Vilgax doing nothing but wanting power, and Ben literally fighting the possible corruption of power, which is also incredible. I mean, spoilers, but let's be honest, some people are very iffy on Alien Force, and it's whatever. Now, in terms of anime, like I did say, I'm kind of glossing over it, but Cowboy Bebop is honestly one of the core things that obviously started this entire idea in my head, where it does make me think of just a vast number of things, but even Spike, specifically his philosophy of just living on borrowed time, which does make me think of Doctor Who, because, I mean, it's a time travel thing, but still, it makes me think like the entire Spider-Verse and every single intersection of the web, where one thing changed and put me on a different path to another entirely possibly different future, but it's all led me to here. I mean, the multiverse is vast, but the fact that Cowboy Bebop can remind me of that is honestly incredible. And speaking of Doctor Who, which is another thing, let's talk about Doctor Who as well, because that is a definite series that makes me question mortality. I mean, the sheer idea of mortality, immortality, the Doctor living all of his lives, the Doctor actually going on all of his adventures, it really does make you wonder, how much does life truly have to offer? And the answer is a lot. But it also makes you question, how much are we going to be able to do with what we have? Or at least me. I do question this a lot whenever it comes to Doctor, and especially on his speeches about war, because there truly are no winners, and it's very apparent, especially whenever he explains it in such a simple way. But to try and move away from all the series and, anime, lastly I will mention Naruto, because he does have both a series and multiple movies, and in each and every single one of them, it's him trying to become stronger, but for the reason to protect. He is definitely someone who makes me think of what people have done to wrong me in the past, and how it actually is just sometimes easier to forgive them, or at least understand why they've done it. Hindsight is definitely something that we all need a quick reminder of at times, and honestly, it's kind of crazy how fast we can flip. If we put ourselves in their situation or they put themselves in our situation, then usually things are pretty scary. But sometimes a bad guy isn't actually a bad guy, it's just someone with a bad day. And Naruto actually does remind me of that whenever we're talking about almost specifically pain, really, because it was the same teacher, same-ish students, the same potential, but also different times and different outcomes. One bad day really can make you go crazy, and hey, Pain, I guess, did go a little crazy. But even in the Naruto movies, we can see how he still tries to actually understand people and understand where they're coming from, and also does so in such a fun-loving, kind of nonchalant-ish way, where he also notices that there is a time to be a kid and a time to be an adult. There is a time to be a proper ninja and actually do what is necessary. Even if it does mean that you defeat an alien by just doing a sexy jutsu. Now, moving on to movies, there is honestly a whole other way to go about this, but I'm going to stick with a few core movies I guess would be fitting, which would start with The Bridge to Terabithia, which for me was the first movie that I can remember made me actually think this way. Bridge to Terabithia, if you do not know, was originally a book, and specifically a book made by a parent to actually help their child cope with the loss of a friend. I say cope, but I feel like that might be the wrong word, so excuse me. But it is actually a beautiful film. I have not read the book, but the baseline of it is that Bridge to Terabithia is honestly another question that makes me question mortality and childlike wonder, because we all actually do still want to be a child. I mean, who doesn't? No responsibilities, no bills, no actual, need for urgency or desire to figure things out, just fun, and who knows what will actually come of it. Plus the imagination and world building that they have done in that small time together is honestly beautiful and extremely inspiring, because who knows how much time and effort it would truly take to build something that vast, and to even go through all of the tropes, all of the villains, all of the heroics that they've done. I mean, to make a genuine fantasy land, it explains why Dungeons & Dragons is actually pretty popular right now, because it's just that. World building, heroes, villains, and nothing but infinite thought, and who knows what will happen next. But turning around to childlike wonder, I also must think of Mr. Magorium's wonderful Emporium, which I feel is a not as talked about movie, but also an extremely great example of this. For those of you who have not watched this, it actually isn't much of a spoiler, but Mr. Magorium's wonderful Emporium is a toy store. Run by a man who actually has nothing but childlike wonder still left. And that is, of course, what keeps the store alive. I definitely recommend you watch it if you have not, but even if you have, please rewatch it. It is definitely worth it. But throughout the movie, it just goes to show that even people who have nothing but childlike wonder still do have the problems of being an adult. Whenever Mr. Magorium is obviously... I'm about to spoil it. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Basically, Mr. Magorium has to go through something, and eventually we all will realize that we also will have to go through something as well. But the childlike wonder will still live on in someone else. And speaking of childlike wonder, once again, it's honestly something incredible to think of one of my personal childhood favorites, which is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's not as slept on, but I do feel like it does need a lot more recognition. For me, I am not really a musicals kind of guy, but it doesn't like. Musicals aside, it's still a great movie. Specifically, the uncle. My sister and I refer to me as that uncle because of all of his very odd gadgets and doodads. But regardless, the movie is pure fun and enjoyment, and it's honestly kind of looked at through a child's eyes, which is something I find amazing. I mean, between the flying car alone, what else do you want from that movie other than possibly candy? I definitely don't want to spoil a lot of these movies and shows, but it's kind of hard not to. I'm restraining myself a lot from it. But I'm going to hopefully remember to leave a list of them that I mentioned, and hopefully you will find times or at least remember parts of them where you can watch them, maybe look at some clips. I don't know. Now, what I'm going to be talking about lastly, even though there are definitely many different forms of artistic media, for me, it will end with games because video games have been a huge part of my life, and it also has made me think a lot about mostly decisions and also outcomes and like a whole other vast number of feelings. But we'll start with this. Life is Strange. That's it. Just the game Life is Strange, because it truly does exclaim that life truly is strange. From the characters that it actually shows and the way that the series in general depicts the powers and invokes so much emotion from them, it does make me wish for a lot more games. And honestly, I wish I had the full collection, except I think I'm missing 3 to 4, except for like the 2 that just came out. Life is Strange lets you explore a world and solve a mystery, and in the end, it all comes back to one major decision that apparently changes everything. And there is kind of no right or wrong answer, at least from my current understanding, because I do think that there is one, maybe, I don't know. But it is definitely a massively it is definitely a loved game, and the fact that it still is going on with the same characters and even with the same kind of idea is great. I do recommend that you at least watch playthroughs, find a synopsis of it, go through a story. It's a decision making game, so every single possible decision has probably been made and has definitely been predicted. But hey, it's actually a very, very good game. But speaking of decision making games, it would kind of be unjust of me to not mention the Telltale games. And they do have a lot. I am definitely thinking of what I consider to be the first Minecraft movie, Telltale Games Minecraft playthrough interactive movie thing. It should be on Netflix, at least last time I checked it was. It's a very interesting concept because it was the first one where I saw a game actually being played as a movie, even though it was an intentional game. It's kind of crazy. Best way I could put it is exploring the world of Minecraft and building upon the incredible lore it already had from its first iteration. Minecraft Story Mode takes us on the adventure of a character who finally gets to meet their heroes and sees and interacts with the amazing things that they have done. something that I think that we all at some point have actually wanted to do. From meeting our heroes to going on epic journeys and adventures with our friends to just wanting to actually do something big. This is definitely something that you should play for yourself. It is also a decision making game, but it's amazing. I would 10 times over recommend it as, if not the first interactive game you play, the first Minecraft game you play, if you haven't already. It's on Netflix last time I checked, once again. I definitely recommend it. Also, in terms of story games, there's these amazing series of The Walking Dead. The game, The Walking Dead, from the art to the story, is based on the comics, and it also takes you through mostly the adventures of Clem in this post-apocalyptic world. Starting, of course, with her protector, Lee. Lee is someone who fights tooth and nail to protect Clem. And if you have seen playthroughs of the game or played it yourself, you will know exactly how hard the first game hits when it ends. I mean, it again makes me question relationships and mortality, but it also makes me want so much more for him. From his beginnings to how it ends, Lee is honestly a great character. And the way that he actually passes the torch of the game on to Clem, even as a child, makes it even better, because we then go through her story and sees exactly how she develops, or at least we can see how we help her develop. But with decisions, we also have a ton of other decision making games. And with games that play like movies, I feel like it is nothing less of an honor to say that Beyond Two Souls is honestly one of my personal favorites. It's less of a decision making game, but definitely something that makes me question a lot. Mostly in terms of, I guess, the afterlife, since that's what we're talking about, but also paranormal activities, which is like kind of cool, kind of creepy. It's interesting at the very least. But Beyond Two Souls, to make a long story short, is a story about a child who ends up having a paranormal best friend who helps her fight her demons. Actually, yeah, that's like the best way to think about it. Long story short, Beyond Two Souls goes through a bunch of controversial life paths, but still keeping true to its one story of a little girl fighting her demons with a paranormal best friend. I mean, that actually sounds like a much better way to say it, but that's like the most immediate way I could think of. It's definitely an interesting game, and definitely a great game as well, both visually and thematically. Long story short, Beyond Two Souls is a very interesting game that goes through a lot of different controversial life paths, I guess. But it is still an incredible game, regardless, both visually and thematically. Now, going off of decisions, there's also the game The Last of Us. Now, The Last of Us is another, I guess, zombie game, but technically an apocalyptic game. That part doesn't matter too much, but The Last of Us is a two-part game so far, where you get to see a mirror reflection of decisions made by one character and how they actually turn into a massive kind of tragedy. The Last of Us depicts an apocalypse, a zombie apocalypse specifically, based off of a fungus, which technically is the most scientific and accurate way that we can describe a possible zombie apocalypse. to a certain extent. But The Last of Us shows how the decisions of one man echo throughout other people's lives in perpetuity. From him losing his daughter, to him trying to find a replacement, to him doing whatever he can to protect beyond what he could before, it just shows how much he tries and how much even his decisions end up affecting others, including those that he tries to protect. Of course, this one I am also trying not to spoil. It is definitely a great game. HBO made a series about it. I definitely recommend playing the game over watching the series, but either way, the game's definitely better than the series, but both are great ways of explaining it. The main character has done a lot of bad things, but ultimately he is another reason of why one bad day can really make you go crazy. His decision to do one thing, if not many things, have given him multiple lessons throughout this apocalyptic land, and also has made multiple enemies for him, others, and those who he chooses and desires to protect. And even in the second game, it actually shows that one decision can really change everything. It actually is incredible. The way that they actually explain things, the way that they build character and give so much emotion to every single interaction they have, makes you miss and yearn for more interactions with them beyond what the game gives you. Lastly, I feel like it's nothing less to talk about decision-making games other than to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, that game alone has a genuine vast amount of world building, from the comics to the game itself to the card game and the series, the first and a second one that's actually in development, plus the history that actually has been put into it from our current point in time even. It is something that is a very scary and possibly accurate prediction of our future and our outcome in this world, but it also gives us a lot of hope and technically a lot of dread from its incredible endings, as in multiple, even though things can go oh so right and oh so wrong. Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that is incredible, from the side quests of the characters that you get to race with, to the characters that you even get to meditate with, or the characters that you get to romance, even though I feel like there are actually a lot of good options. But hey, it's Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, you can always just mod it and just, try to date Johnny. I'm pretty sure there's a mod for that too. Regardless, it is a visually and storytelling marvel. It is incredible. From the side quest to the side characters to even the main story and the DLC, it gives you a lot to think about. Mostly, for me, it gives me an idea of what actually can happen within, I guess, the span of 2 weeks or months. I forgot how long he technically has to live. It's iffy, but between all of the different endings, the star, the sun, the devil, the path of least resistance, and temperance being the main four, I think, it does make you question what decision actually could be the right one. It definitely makes me question that, because a lot of them really don't seem to matter a lot, but they actually matter vastly. The endings technically don't matter because I'm pretty sure they've all been spoiled if you've heard about it, but Cyberpunk 2077 definitely does make me wonder exactly where we're headed in terms of technology, how we use it, AI, the future of all of this stuff, to even just AI possibly even taking over basic jobs like Waymo pretty much is. It makes me question a lot of this because it all derives from our current possibility, and it also has a lot of technically scientific accuracy. It's also like the most unexplainable thing, which is why I'm ending on it. It's just unexplainable. It's something that you have to experience almost in its entirety to truly understand. It begs the question to think of mortality, immortality, what leaving your mark on something actually is, and what it could truly mean to fade in existence with everyone else. I mean, yeah, I don't really know where to go from this. I was hoping to leave on a happy note, but I guess I forgot about that. Yeah. Hopefully this was interesting, and hopefully you enjoyed. Okay, so thank you for watching. This was definitely a lot different from what I've been doing. I don't know. Definitely comment which show, movie, or game gave you a just deep emotional reaction to, I guess, because these are a lot of the ones that gave me some, but obviously there is a lot more, and media will definitely do that to you. So, thank you.